And today we're going to talk about getting your first 5 signed contracts. And we're going to start this out and talk about the psychology of it because God knows I've been through this. I know a lot of you, like, in your head, you're like, dude, Rick, I'm just trying to get one. Here's the really cool part: to get the 1 to 5, it's actually the exact same strategy. I just got to get you to believe in yourself. So this is the Rick Ginn channel. All we do is talk about wholesaling. And the reason I put up this channel on top of the Flip with Rick is so I can get more access, so people can get information. I don't let money stand in between you and your success. Only you do. And I throw out this channel because I've been doing wholesaling for 20 years. So let's just jump right into it. And at the end, we're going to do the mastermind. So you guys see the link. I've already put it under the comment under Rick Ginn. If you want to join in the mastermind, first come, first serve. I never charge for this. I give it away for free. So kind of use it or lose it. So let's jump right into it. I need to get to my first 5 contracts. But before you do anything, you got to get to your first contract. And so I'm going to start out with this one question because I told you I'd talk about the human psychology of wholesaling. And honestly, this goes for anyone who's had real success in their life. And you got to ask yourself this question before you ever start any endeavor. You ready? What's wholesaling going to cost you? The truth, honestly, I had no idea about this question. I figured out long after I got the answer to it. And if somebody would have told me this up front, it can actually change how you attack this business. What do I mean by this? What is it going to cost you? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, everything you've learned up to this point before wholesaling, you've been programmed. You guys are stuck in the matrix. So everything I'm going to teach you about wholesaling is going to seem foreign. It's going to seem weird. And you're going to like, dude, I don't know if I can actually do that. The only reason you say that is because you're stuck in your old self. You're in the matrix. You are formed and modeled by your government, your schooling system, your parents, your family, and your peers. And if you don't believe me, you got to wake up and shake it out. That's why most people struggle in wholesaling. The reality is, if you can answer this question, it will actually give you a clear direction on how to navigate through this challenging thing we call wholesaling. Now, here's the really cool thing about wholesaling. Wholesaling is actually pretty simple, but the reality is us humans complicate the crap out of everything. Have you ever just rearranged something just to make it seem more challenging? You guys automatically do it before you even start marketing to anyone. So what is it going to cost you? And here's the answer. You ready for this? This is going to blow you away. It's going to cost you everything. And most people don't understand that. Now, some of you are going to take that as a negative. Some of you take it as a positive. If you take this as a negative, it means you're stuck in the matrix. You're already focusing on what you're going to lose. Whereas the person that truly wants to be successful in wholesaling, when they answer this question, like, yeah, but let me think of all the things I'm going to gain. And the stuff I'm going to lose is the crap I need to get rid of anyways. You see, if you use your old mindset, your old personality to be successful in wholesaling, I almost guarantee you failure right off the bat. The reality is you're at this video right now because you're frustrated with something in your life. And I want to use wholesaling to catapult you to make a huge difference in your life. But at some point, you're going to have to take a leap of faith and leave your old self behind. And it's horrifying. I didn't understand this. It took me a good 5 years to peel out of my shell, kind of like a crab. You know, they molt, they pop the shell off. It would be easier if you guys just rip the shell right off the bat and not go through the journey I went through 5 years. I tried to desperately hold on to my poor mindset while doing wholesaling, and I was making really good cash. I just couldn't figure out how to hold on to it and really how to become wealthy and successful because I was stuck in my old self. So when I say, what is it going to cost you? If you truly want to be successful in the wholesaling, it's going to cost you everything. I don't understand, Rick. Does that mean I'm going to lose my spouse? Am I lose my parents? No, absolutely not. And maybe if you are, it's a good thing. But the reality is your friends are going to change. I guarantee your house will change. Your income's going to change, your bank accounts, your financial education is going to explode. And you're going to stop spending time. Like, honestly, tell me if this resonates to you. I used to be a very passionate sports guy. Now, don't get me wrong. I love sports, especially wrestling, Olympic wrestling, and UFC. I enjoy football. I like football. But the reality is I have no control of the outcome of any of these events because I don't participate in them. I don't do it anymore. And the reality is you're just a cheerleader on the sideline. If some of you people take that same passion you have for your football teams, your soccer teams, whatever it is, your baseball, basketball, and put it in the wholesaling, you would do amazing. You see, I never understood when someone says, oh, my team won. We win the Super Bowl. Your team won. You didn't win crap. You didn't do anything. You need to switch that energy. and you gotta like give it up. So if you have to give up your passion for sports, those of you guys that go to like live sporting events, they're brutally expensive. What if you took that extra 3 or 5 grand, you did that and put it in your marketing? See, the reality is most of you are trying to look rich. And what I'm trying to tell you here is I'm trying to teach you how to become rich. And that is the difference. And if you can't make that shift, you're always going to be trying to look, and the shift when you lose everything in wholesaling is you're going to actually learn how to become rich. It's a journey and you can't do both. It's absolutely physically impossible. I know exactly when someone tries to snuff me every time. Let me give you an example. You know the guy or mostly the guys, you know, when they have that Rolex fake or not, whatever. I'm not a big watch guy, although I do love watches. I don't bring it into my show here. You ever notice when every shot they have, they're holding it like this? That means they're broke. You guys understand that, right? Rich people don't have to show off what they have. They don't do it. Do you ever see me talk about my cars, my house, anything like that? Why? Because number one, it's not going to help you. And number two, I learned to shed my ego a long time ago. So if you know that going into the mindset, you could do a lot more. When I say it's going to cost you everything, it means everything's going to change in your life. But if you didn't come to wholesaling to change, I don't know why you're here. Because if you're not happy with your current life and you're stuck and you're financially broke and you just can't figure things out, don't you want it to cost you? Bring the people with you that support you and help you, your spouse, your kids, everything like that. But my God, get rid of the people that are like taking you out. And they always say, you know, you're surrounded by the people that have the most. You become by who you're surrounded by. That's somewhat true. That's a bit of a BS phase. But if you're around 5 broke people and all they do is gossip and stuff, you are the leader of that group. So you need to find other people. Honestly, if you're talking about anyone behind their back, you're wasting your time. So gossip is another sign of brokenness. So once you know what it's going to cost you, you can fix it. So let's talk about this. Here's the biggest excuse I see in wholesaling. Everybody's stuck in the learning mode excuse. So remember how I told you, if you use your old personality, your old traits, and try to apply it to wholesaling, it's not going to work. I guarantee you it won't work because the way you learned, most of you went to a public school system. Some of you went to private. I don't even think that was even better. And the reality is you study a book, you have a teacher shove it down your mouth, you read it, you assume it's all true, and then you take a test to see how well you memorized it. Life is the farthest thing from that. The reality is you have to fail to get ahead in life. In school, you're taught if you fail, you're no good. I was a C minus student at best my entire schooling history. And I was told there's just something wrong. Like they used to tell my mom, there's something wrong with your kid. Like he's not like the others. He doesn't learn like them. And because I did not fit in with all the other kids, I was labeled like I need to go to trade schools. You need to find them some sort of specialty thing. And the fact of the matter, when I look at everything right now, I had ADHD. Teachers bored the crap out of me, although I did enjoy some teachers. But the minute I got bored, I got in trouble. I'd be the class clown or I'd do something. I had to be somewhat entertained. And I didn't understand it. God knows my parents didn't understand it. But I always said, why do we have to learn like this? I never understood it. And I had a few teachers that really made me think outside the box. We go outside, learn. And I always enjoyed science, always did well in science. I could never grasp English and math. And I'm just telling you, if you take that old way of learning that you learned all through grade school, middle school, high school, and especially college, wholesaling is going to be brutal. Because you guys don't want to start it till you know everything. And honestly, you might as well not even start. The difference on how real businesses work is you take your theory, your teachings, and God hope you get it from the right place. Go over to freewholesaling.com. And then you go out and test it. And you're going to fail at a lot of it. And then you come back and you fix it. And then you do it again. And you fail over and over. We were never taught this way in school. We were horrified if we ever failed anything. And you want to know why your old mindset's broke. If you do this in here, you're going to have the exact same results. And I struggle with this. Guys, you're going to fail at wholesaling, but if you succeed more than you fail, you actually make progress. And if you think you're going to stay in this little bubble, study wholesaling for 2 to 3 years, and then everything will be perfect, it will create so much anxiety in your life, you'll never get crap done. I'm just telling you, you got to dive in. It's like diving in a swimming pool, not knowing if there's water or not. That's how committed you have to be. So here's the next one. You ready for this? We're talking about mindset before we show you how to do the 5 contracts. Ready? If this happens, then I'll do wholesaling. If you have a conditional statement to start any business, no different in wholesaling, don't do it because there's going to be so much crap thrown at you in between. You're going to get sick. You're going to have family members come sick. You possibly have a death in the family. You're going to have a recession. There can be a war that breaks out. There can be a pandemic that kicks in. Guys, we've seen all this happen. I've seen all this happen in a brief period in my life. I got hit with 2 major hurricanes when I started wholesaling my first year. I didn't know what to do. So if you already have conditions before you start, you're doomed. Get rid of your conditions. It's the same thing as saying, oh, after the holidays, I'm going to go on a diet, or after this, I'm going to do that. See, once you admit you're going to do a diet right off the bat, which has the word die in it, you've already admitted the failure. You see, the person that's going to do the best is going to put the discipline every day. So if they have a bad day or two, it's fine. But if you have a bad day almost every day of the year, you can't afford to eat like that during the holidays. Same thing in wholesaling. Please don't start with an, if this happens, then I will start wholesaling, because the world has a funny way of putting enough conditions in front of you without you even knowing about it. If you throw them in there, it's an absolute nightmare. So moving on to the psychology part. You ready for this? This is my favorite. You're going to love this. You ready? The only thing stopping you is the story you keep telling yourself. That's it. Tony Robbins came up with this. I didn't. Everybody has a story. Admit it or not, you have a story. I used to have a story. I used to think I was this professional person. I actually wound up going to college. Didn't do me much good. And I came back and got sales jobs, but I always made an excuse why I couldn't do this or why I just stay at that corporate job. In fact, I made enough excuses, I wrote a story about myself. I just suck it up for 12 years. The story sucked. It wasn't true. And it got me nowhere. It just fed my ego and made me feel better. But feeling better does not pay your bills. It does not help out your family and does not make you financially free or free of your time. So how do you fix it if you keep telling yourself that same BS story? And you guys know exactly what I'm saying. Write down right now, you all tell a story in your head. And the story you tell yourself is going to be how you live your life. And if you can change that story, you got a shot. But just like in wholesaling, if you come into wholesaling and you've got a bad story about how you can't do this, how I can never sell, how I could never be super wealthy, I'm not like other entrepreneurs, you're doomed. You've got to get rid of that story in your head. So what I'd like you to do is write down your story. And if the story's screwed up and you keep repeating the same story, fix it. How do you fix it? Real simple. Divorce the story and marry the truth. Okay. Now, I'm not giving you marriage advice. I'm giving you business advice. If your story sucks and hasn't gotten you anywhere and you feel like you're stuck in a rut, just let it go. You're the only one holding on to you. Nobody's making you hold on to it. You think it's the truth. It's the farthest thing from the truth. So why don't you file for divorce from that crappy old story you keep selling yourself and marry the truth? And I'm telling you right now, the minute you let go of your excuses, which is your story, same thing, by the way. Remember, you can have a million excuses or you can make $1 million, but you can't do both. So once you lose that story, your excuse, you have permission to write your new story. But so many of you won't let it happen because you're stuck with the story. The funny thing is you're the only one that knows the story. And I lived the same BS story for 12 years of my life. And I decided one day I'm just going to let it go. You see, the minute you can tell yourself the truth, you can fix any problem you want in your life. If you're constantly going to lie to yourself, you're doomed. There's no fixing it. And we see this every day in life. And if you truly want to be successful in wholesaling, you write your story, let the old one go, write it down, and then tell yourself the truth. And if you suck at something, just say it and tell me what you're going to do to fix it. And then once you do that, then you can learn how to be accountable to yourself. Because the only way you can truly be accountable to yourself is when you stop lying to yourself. Once you stop lying to yourself, the sky is the limit. And for most people, they can never lose the story about themselves because they're stuck there. And then they cannot find the truth because they're not willing to accept it because it scares them. And change is something they're not willing to do. And this is the line you're going to cross over with wholesaling. You want to get to 5 contracts? You've got to solve this part. Lose your story, your excuse, marry the truth. What's the big problem? And tell me your story going forward. And then after that, you got to be accountable to yourself. Do you know how you be accountable to yourself? You cannot lie to yourself. Because if you're going to lie to yourself and you're going to constantly cheat on yourself and you're stuck with yourself every day, you're going to create such animosity in your own body. It's going to come out in all sorts of phases. You're going to scream at people. You're going to let your body get out of shape and you're going to be miserable. So the sooner you can find the truth, the easier life's going to be. But the reality is most people in this world don't want to deal with the truth. They don't want to deal with their emotions and they're going to use everything in the world to numb it up. And I've been that person, guys, and I'm not a hypocrite, but once I found wholesaling when I turned 33, I made changes and I took longer than most to do it, but I don't care. I run a marathon in wholesaling. I run a marathon. And once I figured out wholesaling and I figured out how to keep my money and make it grow every year, then I went to work on me. I decided to make massive changes to how I ate. I decided to get rid of alcohol. I decided to get quality sleep. And I decided every minute with my family was going to be the best time I could put together. And I'm not perfect. I still have issues, but I'm just telling you, if I didn't find wholesaling, I couldn't have made all those changes. And I'm telling you, if you just find that change and you want to do wholesaling, you've got to make these mental changes, because without it, it doesn't matter what program I get you, because you're like a computer. Like when I started with an Apple, I couldn't afford Apple when I was a kid. My parents couldn't either. Our neighbor had one, and we used to use the floppy disks, 5.25 inch. And now you fast forward today, a 5.25 inch floppy disk wouldn't even hold hold 50 word programs. But if I still operated under that old DOS system, under all the current stuff going on with AI and everything, I'd be a dead man walk. And you are no different. And you got to understand that. So the next one, there are no shortcuts. I know everybody in wholesaling tells you about, I've got a shortcut. Somebody said the other day, I'm not going to use names because it's so obvious, that doing these types of deals are actually much more what was the word? Much more revealing than a wholesale, because all wholesalers lie. Well, listen, if you lie as a wholesaler, you're not doing it right. And if that's your excuse to go try a trick or a shortcut, you're going to get killed. It doesn't matter what you do in life. See, that's a personality trait. And there's people out there trying to sell you paperwork and documents on how you don't have to compete with wholesalers. Now it's super easy. And I don't even know why you guys try to do it. And you can make 50 grand without even dealing with wholesalers. It's all BS, guys. If it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. And the reality is they spend all their time on the internet trying to sell you these products, because if they were such a successful investor, they would be out there doing that as well. But they go on everybody's programs and stuff like that. I'm just saying, guys, here's the truth. I've been wholesaling for 20 plus years. There is no replacement for wholesaling. It is the greatest strategy out there when it comes to real estate investing, in my opinion. It gives you the highest reward with the lowest amount of risk. Is it a lot of work? Yeah, you're going to have to work your butt off. And any guru or any coach or any mentor that tells you, I've got a super easy way and a shortcut, run. Because here's what's going to happen. And you guys are dads out there, you can appreciate, especially the internet now. You can buy a toy. I'm like, oh my God, it's only $9 for that toy. I saw it everywhere else for $50 everywhere. And you go, what the hell? I'm going to buy it. And you buy it. The damn thing falls apart the minute your kid gets it. And now you're aggravated. Your kid's disappointed. You look like an idiot during the holidays. And then you got to go buy the real program. The real toy. So now you bought a crappy toy, you upset the kids, you got disappointed, and you got to go buy the real deal. Same works in wholesaling. If you put in the work, it works phenomenally. If you constantly want a shortcut, and how do you know it's a shortcut? The word secret, I have a shortcut. Anybody that tells you it's revamped, 9.0, it's just crap. They're just trying to remarket, rebundle. And how do I know these people? Because they all go to the same coaching seminars to figure out how to crack the code. If you're a new wholesaler, you are a target in this business. You are the most desirable dollars they chase after. Why? Because they assume you don't know a damn thing. And number two, they're just going to woo you with a sales pitch. And honestly, if the pitch sounds too good, it usually is. There is no shortcut in wholesaling, guys. It's it. I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you about a short. It's not. You've got to market to motivated sellers, and you have got to push hard. Because when you're new, you have no momentum. So when we're talking about momentum, it's real simple, guys. Real simple. Remember, you got to just start with your first deal. Now, most people struggle with their first deal. I know I did. And a lot of you start and you get discouraged when that first deal doesn't work out. Remember what I told you. This isn't like when you went to school. You are going to fail. And you got to get back up on that horse and keep on riding. But some of you start watching the internet and some guru comes on and goes, you trying that wholesaling? Is it hard? I have an easy way. You can stop doing it that way. Run, guys. They're just going to take your money, and then you're going to come back to me and go, man, I'm really frustrated. Or worse, they're going to push you out of wholesaling. Now, I love creative financing. I think it is under the umbrella of wholesaling. But if you just want to go out and do creative financing and nothing else, especially as a newbie, you're going to struggle. Now, if you want to cut your path with it, I bless you. But there's a lot of nuances with creative financing. And if you don't understand them, you could get in serious trouble. And I just That's why I do wholesaling, and when a creative financing deal falls on my lap, I put it together, and I do get other people to help me out. I don't know everything. I've been doing this a long time. I do know that you have to have a legal help in a lot of your paperwork. So if you're doing creative financing without any type of legal help, or you've never done a real estate deal, I implore you to focus on wholesaling first. It took me about 3 to 4 years to grasp creative financing, all the different concepts, and I could do an entire show on it. But the reality is I got really good at it. And here's the fundamental thing you have to learn. You have to find great deals, and you've got to learn to talk to people. And wholesaling is going to teach you both those two traits. So if you learn them in wholesaling and you want to graduate and do creative financing, but I find most people that do creative financing, unless they have a massive social media following or anything, like you can only do so many deals. There's only so many people that are going to do it. So you always want to do wholesaling. And then if a creative deal falls in your lap, you know how to do it and you're confident and you get some legal help, then by all means, take it down. So we need momentum. So if we know about momentum, you ever hear this thing where it's like, you ever notice the things that happens in threes? Everybody focuses on the negative things. Like, my car wouldn't start this morning. I got to work and my boss wants to cut my hours back, or I didn't get that promotion. And then my girlfriend dumped me. How does anybody come up with this power to the three? The exact same thing can happen in the opposite path. It's called, instead of a downward spiral, it's called an upward spiral. And that's it. And I got to tell you, for the longest time, if I had one or two good things happen in my life, I found a way to self-sabotage myself. Why? Because my old story was, I don't deserve this. It's not going to happen for me. My new story is, why not me? That's it, guys. That was my story. I started with, why not me? I see all these other people doing wholesaling. I don't think they're any smarter than I am. And here's the thing is, when you guys go, oh, I'm not that smart, or he or she's smarter than me, that's because you're using your old mindset, because your schooling system was based on your IQ. How smart are you? Or how hard do you work? And there is some stuff that will help you in the wholesaling world. I'm not going to say that, but wholesaling is never about the smartest person. And the reality in the business world, very successful business people are never the smartest person. Here's the difference is, they are the most resourceful and they work the hardest. They are never the smartest. They hire the smart people. Why? Because they're willing to work for your dreams. You just give them some money back and it's perfect. Your entire education system, everything you've learned from your parents is about you getting a good job. I tried it, guys. I'm not knocking on people get a regular job. I did it for 12 years. It sucks. I'm sorry. You are extremely limited. There's no such thing as a middle class. You're just getting by. You're being taxed absolutely to death. And honestly, you only get one life. We all know what the end game is. We're not going to be here forever, so you might as well make it count. That's how I look at it. So, which leads me to the next one. So if you can create an upward spiral, and by the way, you're not limited to 3 things, like 10 good things happen to you. You don't need to know everything, because my God, you went through what, 12 years of formal education. And then some of you guys went to school for another 4 years, some even 8. Why? Because you had to wait till you know everything before you could take action. Wholesaling is completely the opposite. Honestly, a day or two, but you have to take exact, precise, massive amount of action, and your quantity has to be through the roof. You have to have an incredible amount of momentum to get the machine started. So, but here's the problem is, what a lot of you are going to do is you're just going to wait till everything's perfect, right? Once I go all the way through free wholesaling like 10 times, and then I go through 50 other YouTube videos, and then I go into every guru's coaching program, then I might be ready. Well, here's news to you. I don't care if you pay for coaching or you get it for free from me and Zach. You're going to have to do the work. And honestly, wholesaling is the complete opposite. You just need to master 1 or 2 skills to get started. It takes time. So if you guys ever see Shark Tank, it's the same story every time, right? They call them entrepreneurs, but they develop a product and then they mortgage their house. And then they keep remolding and changing the packaging, and then they go, hey, well, what's your sales? So like, I don't know, I sold $1,000 my mom bought 3 and my sister bought 1. And you know what all the sharks say? Go prove your concept and then we'll consider investing in you. But they want to know what the market says, and you have to do the exact same thing. So when you go to freewholesaling.com, the first thing we teach is how to build a buyer's list and how to market to motivated sellers. But a lot of you jump down to the very end of trying to sell your contracts, and you want to know how to deal with a cash buyer, how to do the assignment of contract. You're literally wasting your time. It takes a good 30 to 60 days to even get your marketing ball rolling. That's why we want you to start marketing, and then you can piecemeal the rest of it as you go through it. Guys, The reality is most of you want to wait till you know absolutely everything. And I'm just telling you, it's never going to work. The sooner you accept this, the better you're going to do in wholesaling. And you're never going to get the 5 contracts you wait to know everything, because I've been doing this 20 plus years. I still don't know everything. I'm not a hypocrite. I've seen people do stuff. I'm like, wow, that was super impressive. Can you show me how to do that? And then I become a student. You see, once you put your ego aside, you can do anything you want. If you don't put your ego aside, you can't learn anything, because you're not receptive, because you're always trying to be right. We all know people like that in our lives, in our family, in our friends. I'm not telling you to get rid of your family. You just tune them out. We just went through a major holiday, guys. It's like, they're like, I don't understand, Rick. How can you live like this? I don't know. I put in 20 plus years of hard work. What did you do? See, everybody wants the end game, but nobody wants the journey. And if you want to be successful in wholesaling, you got to do the journey. So now we're getting into it. You ready? I know a lot of this is basic, guys, but you got to understand it. Before you start in wholesaling, please don't act like you're a realtor, for God's sakes. And if you are a realtor and you found wholesaling, I commend you. Please don't do it the other way. For God's sakes. If you're looking to come in wholesaling and you want to go get a real estate license because somebody told you to do it, ask yourself, what the hell am I doing it for? 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you they're going to protect you and train you, and you're going to get so much more access, and then you can list properties. I'm here to tell you it's going to kill you. It's going to tear up your marketing, because you got to disclose it to everybody. You're also going to have to answer to a boss, which you really didn't want to do in doing this. And I'm just telling you, anyone telling you to get a realtor's license, 98% of the time, they are a licensed realtor. And then usually 50% of the time, they're selling you a course. So you don't believe me? Try it out. Here's the proof in the pudding, guys. I've done this for 20 plus years. I've never had a real estate license, and I've never had an issue. Why? Because it's very clear. I am the buyer of the property, and my responsibility is to fund the deal and get it closed. There is never a mix-up. Imagine if you're a realtor and the seller gets confused if you're the realtor or the buyer, which can happen. And a lot of realtors play games with the stuff. I'm just telling you, unless you're in a state where it's 100% required, you can't get around it, which is very, very limited. I'm not going to get in that argument right now, but outside that, don't get your license, because it's going to cost you a ton of money. And this NAR lawsuit that's coming down is going to change how all realtors work. I think half the realtors are going to leave the space because it doesn't work anymore. And someone's going to come out with a better way to do it. And the real estate industry is absolutely ready for it, because the MLS, to me, is one of the worst systems I've ever seen in my life. Only good quality properties can go there. Everything else has to go to the wolves. It's absolutely crazy. So here's what we're going to do, guys. When you're looking to get 5 contracts, there's just 2 basic functions you have to understand as a wholesaler. Remember, I'm not going to teach you the entire wholesaling. Go to freewholesaling.com. I can teach you the whole thing there. Jump on the lives. Number 1, you got to understand what okay. Let's see here. Let me get that off. Okay. You have to understand what a motivated seller is. Now, not every deal has to be a motivated seller, but 95% of them will be a motivated seller. This is someone that has a pressing issue, either time, money, or a family urgent issue, and they want to get the property sold. Maybe they've let the property run down so much. Maybe it's a landlord that milked the cash out of it for 10 years, never put a dime at it, which I see. They're coming up left and right now, especially in the state of Florida. Those properties have to be sold. The question is, can you connect with them, and can you build enough of a rapport with them to have them sell it to you for a discounted price? The only place I get great wholesale deals are from motivated sellers. Guys, I've been doing this 20 years. If you're just looking for properties for sale and you're going to like comb MLS and you're just going to look FSBOs, I'm not saying you can't find a deal there. That is the hardest place to find them, because those are people looking to avoid pay realtors, or they want to pay a realtor and they want like the moon and they got to cover the realtor's cost. How am I going to knock them down 30, 40%? I'm wasting my time. So you have to find motivated sellers. How do we find motivated sellers? I'm going to go deep into that. Number 1, motivated sellers. Ask yourself, when you're talking to someone, is there even the slightest hint of motivation? Because if there's no motivation, you become a realtor. My first year of wholesaling, I tried to convince everybody to sell me their house. And I almost drove myself crazy, because I thought I was invincible, and I'm not. The only people who sold me their house were the people that were motivated. Now, the seller can be motivated, or the property can be motivated. 9 times out of 10, you get a motivated property, meaning it's run down, it needs a lot of repairs, it's major, and the seller's not quite there yet, and I stay on forever. Every now and then, when you market like crazy, you get a motivated seller and a motivated property, and it's the easiest deal you will ever take down. Now, knowing that, how do we connect with motivated sellers? Man, things are not clicking here. You got to do what I call marketing madness. This is the first phase of being a wholesaler. Once you get your mindset right, you know it's going to cost you everything, and that's a good thing. and you're willing to leave your old personality behind and come in this new world, meaning you leave the matrix, you're going to feel like a child just being birthed. That's how it's like, I'm telling you. But here's the thing is, you have to learn to market, and you got to learn to market fast. And this is what we primarily focus on freewholesaling.com. You are going to have to find a way, because you can't just walk out to your local grocery store and find motivated sellers. It's not that easy. So how do we do marketing? I'm just going to give you some basic, simple ways to get started. Number one, simple. Driving for dollars. Get in your car, look for ugly houses. Guys, there's people telling it. They sell an entire course on this. I just saved you, what, 3 or 5 grand. It's not hard. Just look for crappy houses, boarded up windows, blue tarp roofs, overgrown grass, vacant properties that look like they need help and love. And go find as many neighborhoods as you can. You're looking for what we call blue-collar neighborhoods. These are average homes. Why? Because they have the highest demand. They're the easiest to sell, and that's what you want to do. When you find multi-million-dollar homes, they're more challenging. Not saying you can do it, but you're probably going to need some help. So I don't want you starting out that area. Now, driving for dollars is absolutely amazing. Number two, government lists are a must. I started out doing this. I still do it 20 years later, guys. Do you notice a pattern here? What works, we stick with. Government lists are basically going to be your pre-foreclosures, your probates, your evictions. You can do code violations list. I'm going to go in some more, a little bit more depth into this, but here's the deal. They're free, which makes them unattractive to most gurus because they can't figure out how to make money off them, but they're not easy to get. I'm not even going to lie to you. They are challenging. So if you go out and try to get 5 or 6 lists and you get 3, God bless you. To get these lists, you're going to have to overcome resistance with persistence, and you're going to have to learn to be super nice to people. I do. If you guys want to learn how to do this, just Google on YouTube, Rick Ginzatkin government list. We go into like massive detail, and obviously go to freewholesaling.com. The reason why other gurus don't talk about this, because it's not super sexy. In fact, I would argue to say most gurus are out of the basic wholesaling space. Yeah, they flip $1 million properties and commercial properties, and they should do that. But like, our operation is always honed in on wholesaling, and I still do all the other stuff because I'm learning how to do bigger and bigger projects. And that's why Zach's so passionate about wholesaling. He just enjoys it, and I want to show you how to do it. You can't do it without government list. I'm sorry. Where there's smoke, there's fire. These are the hottest lists you can get, and you've got to jump all over them. I'm not going to go over every one of them on this, but you know where I'm going with this. Now, once you have these government lists, you can do a technique called reverse driving for dollars. And it is somewhat like driving for dollars, but if you say you take your code violation list or your pre-foreclosure list, you get a list of addresses. If you want to organize this, you can use software. You can use dmzac.com through Deal Machine, and we basically teach you how to get these addresses, and it will plot out a route for you. And when you plot out that route, the really cool part is, hold on, I lost my screen. You go and put a sticky note on it, and just do a yellow one or bright yellow one, even a pink chartreuse, and just say, listen, I got a quick question about your house. It's Rick, and put on your virtual phone number. Put out 100 of those. You get 15, 20 people call you back. I just saved you from probably 80 to 85 painful conversations. And with Ring doorbells and everything, it's just an easier way to connect. And it has a high connection ratio, meaning they call you back. It works, guys. Someone leaves a note on your door and says, I got a quick question, phone number. You're calling them. Just as if you had a missed phone call on your phone. That's how RVMs came up. Don't do that, by the way, guys. I mean, most states it's illegal, especially in the South, especially in Florida. But it works. It works really well. Reverse driving for dollars, pre-foreclosures, code violations, hands down, are the best lists to work on that. And you want to work that. Now, when you get moving up, you can do some paid lists. I'm not talking about spending a lot of money, guys. Well under $100. Okay, so skip your Starbucks for the next 2 months, and you'll have more than enough money to pay for it. You can use listrei.com. You can use dmzac.com. Which, by the way, sorry, I got a tickle. dmzac.com now, with their subscription, which I think $70, $79, you basically get almost unlimited skip tracing. So right now, stop paying all these other companies to do your skip tracing. I just solved it for you. And by the way, skip tracing is usually one of your biggest expenses in wholesaling. If you want to get the 5 contracts, go to dmzac.com. Not only can you do your reverse driving for dollars and your driving for dollars, you can also organize all your skip traces. It's all in one app. Guys, honestly, I think it's one of the greatest things I've seen come out in software. So stop paying all these other companies your skip trace. The gig is up. For one set price, you get the whole thing done. Driving for dollars, reverse driving for dollars, and your skip trace. It'll help with your routes. Our business wouldn't function without it. So dmzac.com is where you want to go with it. Now, The next thing you got to understand, we have to step it up. You ready? You ever heard of guerrilla marketing? Guerrilla marketing is the key when you start out in wholesaling. And so anybody in the military, I was never in the military. I probably the one regret I have. I think anybody who serves this country is absolutely amazing. So with that, when a military, say there's an army of 30,000 people and you only have an army of say 500, if you two go head to head, you're going to get killed, right? It's not even without saying. So knowing that, you can use what we call guerrilla war tactics. So they use it in the military. We use it in marketing. They're going to print 1,000 bandit signs and they're going to spread them all over town. You're going to print 10 or 15. Here's the difference. You are going to flood one entire little intersection with all your signs, all in that area. And when people go by and they go, oh my God, man, this Rick guy's got signs everywhere. How does he do it? Rick puts his signs out Friday, picks them up Sunday, and I keep moving them until I find the sweet spot. You see, I don't have the resources or the money that these big companies do. So I have to compete and I have to look like I'm much bigger than I am. It's no different. Not only do we stop there, we teach you how to do, you can do physical bandit signs like that. I teach you how to do digital bandit signs. It doesn't cost you a dime. Learn how to penetrate other groups and easily get deals. I teach you how to do bandit comments. Ready for this? Most wholesalers, the big wholesalers, everybody says they're a big wholesaler. It's kind of funny. Nobody knows who does what, but they go out and they hire these ad agencies to put up their Facebook ads, or they even do pay-per-click, and anything on like Instagram, Facebook, people put comments. Motivated sellers comment on it and they never comment on it. Why? Because they outsourced it to an agency and the agency's job's not to answer the comments. The comments are where the gold is. People go, I need to sell my house quick. Hey, can I get your number? We do this and we'll actually respond to you. This is what you call guerrilla marketing at its best. And if you learn and subscribe to this theory, you can do amazing amount of deals on very, very little money. Honestly, my first 10 to 12 deals I did in wholesaling were all from guerrilla marketing. Why? I didn't have $5,000 to spend. I was broke, guys. Honestly, I had a fat mortgage. I had 2 young kids. I had 2 car payments. I don't even know how I got through my first year. It's embarrassing. I was so upside down. So once you understand the marketing piece, I'm going to give you the 2 most valuable things that will cure any new wholesaler's problems. You ready for this? The number of contacts you make, the quantity. How many people are you talking to? When I say a contact, it means you actually talk to somebody on the phone, or you talk to a seller in person, or you text them, you engage someone. A contact means you made contact. So if you think like a professional football, contact is contact, no matter how you do it. Calling someone and not getting through, leaving a voicemail is not a contact. You have to have quantity in this game because you're trying to get a car to 100 miles an hour and you're at 0. You know how you get to 100? Get to 1 mile an hour, then double it to get to 2 miles an hour. Then you get to 3, you get to 4. So many people want to get to 100 miles an hour and they don't want to do anything. They think they can drop 10, 20, 30 grand on marketing. It will never work. Why? Because I see these idiots doing it all day long. You've got to figure out how to talk with sellers and how to connect with them. So the first thing is, I've already given you the basics to get the 5 contracts easily. So you got to have quantity. That's cure number 1. But you got to have one thing that go with quantity, which accelerates it. And that's action, guys. You just got to talk to more sellers. Honestly, if you have a high amount of action and you get quantity, you're fine as a wholesaler. But whenever I talk to someone that's frustrated, what do I get? I get excuses and they tell me what they can't do. And they tell me they've tried everything. And when I say, what I want you to do is just rattle off everything you've tried. And I promise you, you won't cover 10% of the amount of stuff that you can do out there. You tried 10%, you still got like 100 more things you could do. And when someone says I've tried everything and they've never gotten a deal, I know they're lying. It's physically impossible. You can't do it that way. The question is, are you going to make wholesaling a must? Like, let me ask you this. You brush your teeth every day. I hope you do. I really do. Why? Because it's a must. You will not compromise on it. Why don't you make wholesaling the exact same thing? And until you get it to that level, you're going to struggle. Guys, you got to talk to a lot more sellers. You got to take immense amount of action. And whatever your quantity is, if you go, well, I'm just going to talk to 100 sellers, you got to talk to 1,000. Hell, I'd tell you 10,000. Because when you're starting out, you have no database of people and you got to go out and find the freshest and best deals. Here's the last statement I'm going to leave you with on this. You ready? What you lack in resources as a wholesaler, you make up in resourcefulness. This is it. If you really want something, you will make it happen. Now, resources imply you have money and the means to get everything. The reality is most wholesalers don't when they start out. The truth of the matter is a lot of you guys are broke. And I'm okay with that. I started out broke. This is why I'm so passionate starting out this way. I hate people who just try to throw money at it and see if it's going to fix it. Money is not going to fix your worth ethic and your hustle. You do have to work smart because if you're not looking in the right places, you're wasting time. And most guru coaches are sending you to the wrong places. And I don't know if they're doing it on purpose or not. I think just most of their information is outdated and it just doesn't work. The fact is you need all these complicated softwares to like sell your deals. I mean, there's people asking an astronomical amount of money to have a piece of software sell your property. That you've got to learn to sell the property. And if you think AI is ever going to close your clients, I see this ad all the time, you guys do. AI will find your prospects, they'll talk to your sellers, and they'll lock up the contract and they'll sell your deal for you. Good luck with that. I know I'm always going to have a healthy wholesaling business as long as I see ads like that. That's the shortcut, guys. Yes, you need to use AI. AI will help you get data quicker, cheaper, and faster. It's never going to close your sellers. This is where you, the wholesaler, has to come in and close people. And so once you get really good at marketing, you will graduate to learn how to really negotiate well. But in the beginning, you just got to get deals under your belt. And how long it takes you to get there, I want you to understand this. Wholesaling is a marathon. Most of the people that are teaching you how to sprint. You ever sprint something? All sprinters stop and they huff and puff and then they quit. A wholesaler that takes the marathon approach keeps going. Maybe it's a guy who does it like 20 years. Everyone told me, oh, Rick, you're doing it the slow and dumb way. I'm still here doing this 20 years. I have not switched industries. I did not open up an Amazon store. I did not go to Forex. I did not get into MLM. I'm not into any of that crap. It's ridiculous. I didn't tell you got to be in a paid mastermind and once you pay me, I'll give you all my contacts. I just give them to you anyways, because the more people I can help, the more deals I can do with you guys on sellmypaper.com and more money I can make. But we all got to decide to make a change at some point. I'm so frustrated with how the wholesaling business is. Give me 10, give me 5 grand, give me 3 grand, and I'll pull the curtain back and show you how to do it. Guys, I already show you how to do it. So please don't fall for that. And I just wish more people would be more transparent. Me and Jack are the only ones out there that partner up. Oh, there's other people that partner up on deals, but we give you access to our course for free. And yes, I have Flip with Rick Plus. You just get more time with me and Zach. We do a group setting where people ask questions because I only have so much time in the day. But I have an avenue for that. If you do a JV with us, I give it to you for free. I give you 1 year for every deal you do with me. I have someone that's already got 7 years of credit with me. It's absolutely amazing. And then we did 2 live events. So I love this business, guys. Remember, it's not your resources. It's how you make up for it in resourcefulness. And resourcefulness is an attitude that you're going to make this work. You will find a way. And remember, the bigger the problem you solve, the more money you make in wholesaling. So